If you walked into my house right now, you'd probably think I have a focus problem. There's a half-finished wooden table in the garage, a stack of books on medieval history on my nightstand, and I just spent 3 hours yesterday learning how to edit audio for a project I haven't even started yet. For years, I felt a deep, heavy shame about this. Society loves to point a finger at people like us and call us dilettantes. The world tells you that if you don't pick a lane and stay there for 40 years, you're scattered or lacking grit. You've heard the insult, jack of all trades, master of none. But did you know that's only half the sentence? The original 16th century quote actually ends with, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Psychology suggests that your scattered brain isn't a defect. It's actually a high-level survival strategy called the M-shaped mind. Today, we're going to talk about why your failed hobbies are actually the secret to being unfireable in the modern world. To understand why you feel like an imposter, you have to realize that the rules of the world just changed. In the 20th century, we lived in what's called a kind learning environment. Think of a factory line or a game of chess. The rules stay the same. If you do one thing for 10,000 hours, the I-shaped model, you win. But we don't live there anymore. We live in a wicked environment. In a wicked environment, the rules change every time you wake up. New AI tools, new economies, new industries. In this world, the hyper-specialist is actually the most fragile person in the room. If their one specific skill becomes obsolete, they're stuck. Your brain knows this. That's why you drift. 1 week you're obsessed with gardening, the next it's 3D printing. You aren't quitting, you're gathering data for a world that hasn't happened yet. Here is where your random interests turn into a superpower. It's a psychological concept called far transfer. Most people use near transfer. If they learn to drive a car, they can easily learn to drive a truck. That's simple. But far transfer is taking a logic from a completely unrelated field and applying it to another. Imagine a web developer who spent 3 years as a beekeeper. To a recruiter, that beekeeping looks like a gap on a resume. But that developer looks at a computer network and sees a living hive. They understand decentralized systems and organic growth cycles in a way a coding-only specialist never could. They aren't just building a website, they are building an ecosystem. Your value isn't how deep you go into one hole, it's how many different holes you can connect with a bridge. So, if being a generalist is so great, why do we feel so burnt out? It's because you're trying to build your M-shaped mind all at once. An M-shaped person has several pillars of deep knowledge, but you can't build them simultaneously. If you try to learn Italian, Python, and carpentry in the same month, you'll just end up crying on the floor. The secret used by the world's greatest polymaths is serial mastery. You have to think in seasons. Season 1, you dive deep into art. Season 2, you pivot to finance to understand the business side of life. Season 3, you learn to code. You haven't abandoned your art. You've just finished that pillar. I know a guy who spent his 20s as a musician. In his 30s, he became a programmer to pay the bills. He didn't fail at music. He used the rhythm and logic of music to become a better coder. Eventually, he combined them to build his own software for musicians. The M only works if you build it one leg at a time. Finally, let's talk about why you are actually bulletproof. In evolutionary biology, there is a concept called redundancy. Elephants almost never get cancer, but because they have dozens of copies of cancer-fighting genes. If one gene breaks, they have 19 more ready to go. Your graveyard of hobbies is your redundancy. If you are a specialist graphic designer and AI takes over your job, you're in trouble. But if you are a graphic designer who also knows how to fix HVAC systems, understands SEO, and can teach English, you are unkillable. You haven't been dabbling. You've been engaging in strategic adaptability. Every failed project was actually a semester in a university you designed for yourself. So, stop apologizing for not picking a lane. You were never meant to be a specialist. You were built to be the bridge between worlds. If you're ready to stop feeling guilty about your curiosity, drop a red heart in the comments. And if you want to see the research on how to plan your next season of mastery, subscribe and join our newsletter community below. What's one weird hobby you've been hiding? Let me know, and I might show you how it connects to your career in the next video.